Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Bradley Phillips, and tonight I will be presenting my pest analysis of Mexico. Mexico is a key player in the global trade thanks to its strategic location and diverse economy. It's located in a good place in the world, and let's face it, it's cheap to make things in Mexico. The purpose of this analysis is to evaluate Mexico's political, economic, sociocultural, and technological environments to determine whether it's a viable destination for investment. After careful consideration while conducting my pest analysis, I've ultimately come to the decision that I personally would not invest in Mexico. This decision was founded while I was doing the research and studying to write my pest analysis. And what I'm going to do tonight is conduct a deep dive into what ultimately led me to this decision. Mexico's political environment. Mexico operates as a federal republic, and they have a president who holds significant executive power over the ongoings in the country of Mexico. He has a lot of say in what happens, what's allowed, who's going to be doing what, who's coming into where. And while the country has shown significant improvements in the political stability, persistent challenges remain. Because every time I think of Mexico, I think of cartel. And corruption and organized crime continue to deter foreign investment despite what the government has done to address these issues. But they're trying to do some things. Mexico has adopted policies to attract international businesses, such as their involvement in trade agreements like the USMCA. But the bureaucratic inefficiencies and a centralized decision-making structure, when it boils down to it, that's just such a significant risk for foreign investors. And while there are opportunities, that political landscape requires careful navigation. And that could just complicate doing business in Mexico. So Mexico's economic environment. Economically, Mexico's made strides in transitioning from a protectionist system to a more liberalized market. The shift has increased trade and foreign investment, especially in manufacturing. There's a lot of manufacturing happening in Mexico. But again, just like with political structures, those challenges remain. Mexico is heavily reliant on the United States, with 80% of its exports going to the northern neighbor. 80%, that's a huge number. That's a huge number for one place. And the dependency that creates also makes a vulnerability to the economic shifts in the U.S., such as inflation or changes in the trade policy. That could throw a huge wrench into the system. Structural challenges, including the need for infrastructure modernization and export diversification, that could further complicate the economic outlook. And again, while it's cheaper to make things in Mexico, the reforms in sectors like energy and telecommunications, those opportunities that they've created, it's been great, but they also come with uncertainties that deter long-term investments. Now on to the socioculture. Mexico's socioculture environment is rich and diverse. It's shaped by the indigenous and the Spanish heritage. And there's a median age of about 29, and the country has a young and urbanized workforce. And obviously that's an economic advantage. But with such extreme disparities between the urban and the rural areas, with those rural regions having issues with income, with consistent health care, with education, that can create problems. And so for businesses, understanding and adapting to these cultures and those dynamics is going to be absolutely essential to succeed. While Mexico's traditions and collectivist values are strengths, it also requires that consideration, and it's going to require someone being very meticulous and very careful when they're going through their strategy development. Failing to address these disparities and the cultural sensitivities that exist, that could undermine the success of an investment. It's just such a big risk. Now, their technological environment. Mexico has made huge progress in the technological innovation that they have going on, particularly in manufacturing and the renewable energy, with initiatives like the National Council of Sciences and Technology having promoted research and development in the country. That's a big deal. They had somebody come through and help them out with what they're trying to do in manufacturing and the renewable energy. But though there's still huge challenges in the intellectual properties laws, and that can discourage the high-tech investors that they're looking to come through. That could discourage money to be brought in when you have a big idea and have invested a lot of capital into a certain thing. Something like that can throw the whole thing off. So Mexico's investment in innovation remains relatively low compared to other OECD countries. And while there are opportunities in sectors like automation and biotechnology, the technological environment just has risks that are just popping right out of the page when you're looking at it. There's just so many things that can go wrong, or so many things that could have a date on it where you know it's going to end. So all of this to say, Mexico presents significant opportunities with trade, manufacturing, innovations, but those challenges that continue across the entire spectrum of the political, of the economic, of the socio-cultural, and the technological environment honestly outweighs the potential benefits. I mean, there's just too many things that you can foresee going wrong to want to make that huge capital investment. And then along with this dependency on the US, trade, ongoing corruption issues, regulatory inefficiencies, the disparities that are going on in that country just make it such a high risk for investment. For those reasons, again, I have decided that I would not invest in Mexico. Instead, I believe that supporting the US industries much better aligns with my values, and it offers a greater opportunity for stability and growth that I would personally be looking for. Again, my name is Bradley Phillips. Thank you everyone for your time, and I hope you've enjoyed my PEST analysis of Mexico.